three principal paths of renunciation. What comes next? Bodhicitta, or compassion, and then wisdom. And that's one way to sort of summarize the whole spiritual path. To have renunciation means turning away from things that will not make you happy, that will only cause you more pain. That's what real renunciation is. Renunciation isn't giving up some good stuff. It's not that at all. It doesn't mean that you can't go to the movies anymore, you can't have, your boats or whatever it is. But it means that you turn away from the idea that these kinds of things, the material things, the relationships, the worldly relationships, the job, the profession, the entertainment is going to pay off in any kind of ultimate way. You turn away from that idea. And unless you do turn away from that idea, you just don't make the time. You don't make the temporal time, and you don't, just like the time in your day, and you don't make the space in your head for a spiritual life. Because it's too much taken up. It's too much taken up by the secular life. And so that's the first step. Sine qua non, without which nothing else for a spiritual life, until there's this kind of turn. And people get this kind of turn in different ways. It's kind of hard to get the renunciation turn, twist, what do you call it, like a pivot in your life. It's a little hard to do it just theoretically. To hear somebody like me talk about how, life is not going to really work out, your relationships are going to tank, your job is going to turn on you at some point. It's one thing to hear it theoretically, and it's kind of hard to move theoretically to renunciation. It's a whole lot easier when you see the carpet pulled out from underneath you. And then you're in a kind of an interesting position. You're in a critical position in your life when you just lose your loved one. When you just lose your best friend, one of your best friends, which has happened to me, all of a sudden, boom, they're just gone, and or you just lose your job. You had put all your hopes in your profession, and then all of a sudden, just boom, they hire somebody else. They fire you, say, we don't want you around here anymore. And then you're in a really, really potentially very, very advantageous position to actually see, this is the way it is. This is life. What did you think? See? But we're going around, kind of in this sort of narcotic haze, thinking, well, that kind of stuff maybe happened to me a long time ago, and it's happening to other people maybe, but it won't happen to me again. You see? And for people like us, for people who are in between the disasters, that you kind of like hammer the theoretical stuff back and back, boom, 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 boom. When it comes to your disaster, you don't have to have any theoretical stuff. See? Then it's clear. Life is suffering, in fact. This is not just some theory or some hypothesis on the part of some ancient guy in India 2,500 years ago. This is the case. Life is suffering. It doesn't work out. You're either in a disaster or between them. And it's the between the disaster times that we have to be very, very attentive. We have to be like, don't just forget, you see. Don't just go amnesiac on like what your life has been, you see. You can lose anything at any time. There's no insurance, there's no security. Anything can go. So don't place all your eggs in these kinds of baskets. That's renunciation. Just learning that that things are impermanent, that things are tentative, that everything's tentative. Everything's impermanent and tentative. And then renunciation comes from that, really. Renunciation, maybe I should spend at least as much time on my spiritual life as I do on these kinds of things that will betray me. Sooner or later, my body will betray me. If you're spending all this time, on your health, on your physical appearance and stuff like that, without the right kind of attitude, understanding, well, the only reason to keep healthy is so that you can possibly live long enough to get enlightened. That's the only reason to keep healthy, really. Everything else is just failing. It's just going to fail you, totally fail you. And like I said the other night, if you're in the yoga, sort of phase, a fad now, in 20, 30 years, when it doesn't work out for you, you're going to all want your money back because it doesn't work. I was talking to somebody recently, earlier today, who's an MD, or her husband's an MD. And, MDs lose every single one of their patients. Every single one, okay? That's a really, it's kind of really a kind of depressing profession to be in, I would imagine. Eventually they lose every one, you see? It's a total failure. The medical profession is a total failure, okay? Really? Well, And what do you think? You're going to be different? Like somehow your body's going to last longer? Or, you're going to be immortal? You'll be that bionic man or the bionic woman or something like that? See? We're just clueless on these kinds of... We don't think. See, we don't stop to think about this is very obvious, This is like, you don't have to convince people with, heavy-duty argumentation. That life isn't, it's impermanent, it's changing, and you can lose anything at any time. It's just obvious. And so mostly renunciation, I think, is just remembering what it has been like in the past, and knowing that there's no certainty that it won't happen again, and you don't know when. See, there's no certainty that it won't happen today, tonight, that some major disaster will happen to you. So you turn away from the kinds of things that are just the more attention that we pay, the more eggs that we put in those baskets, the more we're hurt when the eggs break. The more we're hurt. So you get a little bit of what we call detachment. Detachment doesn't mean that you don't care about anything. That's not what detachment means. Detachment means that you just aren't grasping to the thing that you cannot keep, to things that you cannot keep. You just chillax about them. See? That's non-grasping. Non-attachment is chillax. Just chillax. Okay? You will lose everything eventually. So don't worry about it. What's the point? See? So I think it's very interesting to go around pop culture, pop life, and sort of look for the clues. The enlightened beings have left clues all over the place. One of them is in the figure. I used to read Mad Magazine. You guys read Mad Magazine? Yeah. Alfred E. Newman, I think, was a great teacher. He's a great Buddha. See? Remember him? What me worry? And we always say, oh, what an idiotic dude, He's just such an idiotic guy. He doesn't worry about anything. Actually, that's a very, very high practice. He's a very, very enlightened being. Doesn't worry. What me worry? Why should I worry about anything? If there's something I can do about it, why worry? Just do it. And if there's nothing you can do about it, why worry? Just be Alfred E. Newman, you see? Just be, what me worry? With a goofy grin on your face all day long. Because if there's something you can do about it, just do it, and don't lose your chillax attitude. And if there's nothing you can do about it, just let go and relax. Relax into the insecurity. That's what Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche said. Relax into the insecurity. And that's a beautiful teaching. It is insecure. Everything is insecure. So relax. You can't micromanage it. So relax. Our suffering comes from our futile attempt to micromanage what we can't micromanage. We can't control it. See, we can't control it. Everything is out of our control in the present. The present is out of control in the present. So don't worry about it. You see, the situation will go on as long as the karma that brought it to you lasts. And when it shifts, then the thing will shift. That's all. So don't worry about the present. Worry about the future. See, worry about the future always. Be gardening always for the future. What in this situation would be the best thing for me to do vis-a-vis my future? So again, let's check. If something happens to you, some unwanted thing happens to you, there's nothing you can do about it in the present, so why worry? See, that's the first thing, right? So what about for the future? Will getting upset about it and angry and stressed out and having a bad day, will that help for the future? You think those are planting really interesting, good seeds for you for the future? So every way you look at it, there's never a time to be anything other than just chillax, just detach, just Alfred E. Newman all day long, okay? Really, really high practice, okay? Hard. You think it's so funny, Alfred E. Newman. You try being Alfred E. Newman for a day. See, you think it's so easy. 24 hours to be Alfred E. Newman and just not do anything but just have a stupid grin on your face for 24 hours. See how far you make it, you see? Right? And then you can laugh at Alfred E. Newman. He's a high practitioner. Alfred E. Newman. The Buddha. He's a Buddha, I think.